Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you and your loved ones would be doing fine and enjoying health. And in our today's lecture, we will talk about a different but related topic which we discussed in our previous lecture, and that is the balance of power. It is of immense, this very concept is of immense significance when we talk about the international relations, or when we talk about the international politics, because according to some writers, according to some analysts, real politics is all about power, and power is something which is at the core of the which is at the heart of the international relations. So in our today's lecture, we will try to cover the various significant aspects of this balance of power concept, and we will try to explain the various types of power with examples from the history of international relations, and we will also quote some examples from the contemporary world as well. So, without wasting further time, we will start having our discussions about balance of power. So, first of all, I would like to talk about the contents of this lecture, which we will try to cover in our today's discussion. First of all, we will talk about what is the balance of power, and I would also try to relate some of the related concepts with this very concept which are discussed in the international relations, and after that I would try to throw light on the various characteristics of the balance of power, or the key features of the balance of power concept, and then I would try to discuss the various types of balance of power, and we will also take few examples to explain the different types of power, balance of power. And finally, after talking about all these various aspects of the balance of power, we will try to conclude the discussion, and that's how I would try to summarize this very topic in our today's discussion. And before going further, I hope you guys, after going through the previous lectures, you would be able to understand the concept of power in a comprehensive way, and because it is something which is imperative to understand the concept of the balance of power. Okay, now we will just start having our discussion about what is the balance of power. So, the balance of power is a state of equilibrium, or is a state of stability between competing forces. So, as the word balance itself demonstrate that it refers to the state of equilibrium, or the state of stability between various forces, between various competing forces, and these forces can be two in numbers, or there can be many competing forces involved in this process of balance of power. So that is the literal definition of what is the balance of power. And we can take the example of balance of power through the example of scale, that there are two scales, and it is tried to be balanced by putting weight in both the scales of the both the pans of the scale actually. And we can see we can have a look at this slide, and we can see the example of scale to discuss the concept of balance of power. So talking about the concept of balance of power in international relations, it actually refers to a state of equilibrium among countries or group of countries to prevent any one entity from becoming too strong and thus gaining the ability to enforce its will upon the rest. So, in international relations, the concept of balance of power is associated with the state of stability or equilibrium as well, first of all. And the competing forces are referred to or associated with the countries which operate in the international system. And this balance of power can be maintained between two states, two powerful states of the system, or it can be maintained between two powerful blocs led by like various countries to maintain the balance of power in the international system. That the we can take the example of the United States of America and the former Soviet Union during the Cold War era. That these were the two strong powers which were supported by number of countries around the world, and the sort of power balance was maintained for such a long time between these two blocks. So that's how the concept of balance of power works at the international level when we study the states relationship. And this concept, as in the start of our discussion I mentioned that I would try to relate this very concept with some other associated concepts which are discussed in the international relations. So the power shift is a phenomena which is dynamic all the time, which keeps on happening. Like it is not something which is static. So the powerful actors or the powerful countries in the international system, they keep on observing a change in their might or in their power. And when one state gets too powerful as compared to the other states in the system operating in the system, the shift of power starts happening. So we can take the example of such phenomena from the history of international relations. We are familiar that before the First World War, uh, in the 20th century, in the first half of the 20th century, the United Kingdom was a sort of hegemon, or it enjoyed the status of a superpower who established its influence on different parts of the world through by establishing its colonies or colonial control in different parts of Asia and Africa, and even in America. So when the First World War happened, they A change in the status of power was observed in the United Kingdom, and the United States eventually grew more strong and strong with the passage of time. And eventually, after the Second World War, the power shift happened, and the US and the former Soviet Union, they emerged as the major powers of the world. And eventually, after the dismemberment of the Soviet Union in 1991, the United States of America emerged as the hegemon, or emerged as the superpower of the world. And when we talk about the contemporary era, like we can see that China is gaining in its might and power, and US is feel threatened, or that someday China will eventually challenge the US power, and the power shift might happen in the years to come this if China will keep on growing in its power and US will keep on losing. So we can see that the balance of power is a phenomena which is dynamic, which keeps on happening all the time. And states try to add more and more power into their might by getting into alliances, or by bringing some other countries from the world into their group, so that they can establish their influence, or that they can prevent any one entity from becoming too strong. So balance is something which is required to maintain peace. So that is another associated concept which is highly discussed in the international relations. Peace is the ultimate objective which states around the world try to pursue. When we talk about the international system, the peace is the ultimate objective. Like states always try to maintain peace by getting more and more power, so that ultimately the peace can be established at the international system. So there are various theories given by various scholars of international relations and politics, that how the peace at the international level can be maintained or can be established. So Robert Cohen, in his book After Hegemony, he prescribes that he prescribes a way through which a peace at the international system can be maintained or can be established. So he is of the opinion that with the establishment of multilateral organizations, or interstate organizations such as the United Nations, or regional organizations like the Arab League, and the European Union, and other regional organizations. These sort of multilateral organizations can help to restore the peace at the world after the we can say that once the US will not be the hegemon of the world. So one theory is that a single power can successfully maintain peace at the international level, or can ensure peace at the international level. And there is another theory that believes that the two states, as was the case during the Cold War, that they can help maintain the peace at the international level. And there is another perspective which China is propagating, is that like they prefer multipolar world in which different states of the world establish their influence in different parts of the world, and collectively they can work together to ensure peace at the international system. So these are the different related concepts which I thought was imperative to discuss while talking about the concept of power. So we talked about the concept of power shift and the the concept of peace as well, and here I would also like to add up another key concept which is related to power. That is, there are different countries employ different sorts of power. Here I would like to mention about the status quo and the revisionist power. So the emerging power which tries to change or which tries to challenge the existing state of affair, which is called the status quo, that power, that country is known as the revisionist power. So in the contemporary power structure of the world, we can see that China can be called the revisionist power. China is an emerging power who may challenge the United States in the year to come, or which can challenge the existing system and try to make some changes with the system which is there at the international system by creating some alternative infrastructures or institutes. And that is actually been happening when we talk about the financial institutions. Like China has established the Asian Infrastructure Development Bank and the Belt and Road Fund, so to minimize the institutes of the financial institutes managed by the or owned by the West, such as IMF and World Bank. So we can see that the US is the hegemon who tries to maintain the status quo, like tries to maintain the existing state of affairs, while China is an emerging power which is called the which can be called a revisionist state, who which can challenge the US hegemony, or which can challenge the existing structure which is there at the international system. I hope you would have understood the very discussion which we just had, and now we will continue with the next aspect of our today's lecture, that is called that is about the characteristics or key feature of the balance of power. So the very first characteristics or key aspects of the concept of balance of power is its changing nature. Like it is a dynamic phenomena. It is a process which keeps on happening all the time. It is not a static phenomena. So the balance of power is subject to constant changes from equilibrium to disequilibrium. So when we look at the international system, we can see this very shift from equilibrium to disequilibrium. Like we While looking at the history of international relations, we came to know about the different empires: the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the UK, the British Empire, and the US Empire, the Soviet Empire. So, this is like the balance of power is something which has always been subject to change, and still we can observe the this very phenomena, the power shift is happening between the US and the Chinese in the contemporary world. So power balance of power is something which keeps on changing from equilibrium to disequilibrium, and it keeps on changing from one pair. The power shift can uh, be happening from one pair or from one group of states to another. Secondly, it is not a gift of God, but it is achieved by the active intervention of man. So, secondly, we can see that it is not something which is bestowed by God to some person or to some states, but there are different factors which we can bring into this very discussion. Ultimately, it is achieved by the active intervention of man, by the role played by man to achieve the status of superpower or hegemon in the international system. For example, we can see that some states are much bigger than the other states of the world in terms of size and in terms of territory. Some states are highly enriched with natural resources and some are not. So, irrespective of whether some states are highly enriched with mineral resources by God and some are not, eventually it's through the human intervention, it's through the human skills, employment of human skills, that those resources are converted into real power. So when we look at the Western world, we came to know that through the development in the field of technology, they emerged as the major players of the world, and they eventually managed to secure their power at the international system because they converted the raw materials which they were blessed with by nature, and they with the employment of human skills, and they eventually turned the raw materials of power into the actual power. So it is something which is not only a gift of, which is not just a gift of God, but it is something that is achieved by the human efforts or the active intervention of or active employment of human skills. And finally, we can see that the real balance of power hardly exists. So, if war take place, it means real balance of power is not there. So, the real balance of power is, or the absolute power is something which seldomly exists in the international system, as it is always kept on changing. So the real balance of we can see the examples of the various characteristics of power through the example of wedge. So we can see in those two pictures that the local balance and the central balance, like it is quite difficult to strike a balance. I mean to strike a real balance of power, and when the eventually the war occurs or war broke out between various states of the world, that is the clear example of that the real balance of power is not there. If the real balance of power can be if the real balance of power is there, the war can be avoided. So we can here quote the example of the Cold War era, in which a sort of real balance of power was there between the United States and the former Soviet Union, but eventually it didn't last long. And after the dismemberment of Soviet Union, the United States of America emerged as the superpower of the world, or the hegemon of the world. So this is all about our today's lecture, and in our next lecture we will talk about the various types of balance of power. Finally, we'll conclude our discussion about the balance of power. So if you have queries or any questions regarding our discussion, I would like you to write me your queries through WhatsApp group, and I would be quite happy to address your queries. So until then, wish you best of luck, stay safe. Please see you for the next lecture, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.